retire or the team's going to let you go. So I guess right now we'll get into Money in the Bank. It's only a 4-match card, which I'm very excited about. And we're going to start off with the WIC title. We're going to have Lyra Valkyria defending against Becky Lynch. Now, what are your thoughts on – because I did the episode by myself about this. What are your thoughts on the whole Becky Hogan situation?
I didn't agree with your take.
Okay, go ahead.
Look, whether it's the – I don't know. There's not enough modern wrestlers that we're getting like the heat all, spewed out on what goes on backstage. Like we hear all the time about what was going on from the mid-'80s to the early 2000s with Hogan. However, you just got to think. I mean, unfortunately, Rhea's getting the reputation now where like she's always in the world title, like storyline. Becky is always, always, always attached to a title. She also has now done it kind of like in a Cena fashion, but the opposite. Like hasn't she been women's tag champion twice, and then she turned on her partner?
No, Trish turned on her.
Trish turned on her. Okay, so same storyline flip. She did it, but also to me as like I'm a bigger Bayley fan. So like also I don't know if did you listen to Bayley's Chris Van Vliet podcast?
No, but if you're talking about Bayley kind of hinting towards something happening.
So keep in mind,
I did bring that up in the Becky clip that I made.
So the podcast was recorded before WrestleMania aired, and Bayley was somewhat a little down during the episode, this and that, and like Chris brought up, like, hey, like you're a little underrated or maybe underappreciated, this and that. And then he's saying how he's like, fans, there's a lot of uproar on like how Bayley deserves more, Bayley like more respect. And like, she's like, oh man, well, when this comes out, like they're really going to feel some type of way. And he's like, I can't say anymore. But then keep in mind, it releases the Tuesday after Mania where she's storyline jumped on Saturday, replaced on Sunday by Becky Lynch. I mean, obviously, she challenged Lyra for the IC title prior to the women's tag tournament. Then she's thrusted as her partner. They go all the way. I'm expecting that story to be fulfilled at Mania. It's not. We get Becky shoehorned in this, and then we have a 24-hour title reign, and then she attacks her. It was kind of like overly predictable to me, not enjoyable. But, they were also doing like it's always attached to a title. And then it's kind of she's getting those promos at her, kind of like what she was giving towards Charlotte years back. So
I'll say this, and you said this about Lyra's title reign. When Chelsea was WUS champion, you said that Lyra was impersonating an IC champion because essentially she wasn't doing anything. And Becky, with this whole thing with Becky's done her job and brought something out of Lyra. Lyra might not be the best on the mic.
Her promos have gotten better.
Yeah, Lyra has been excellent in this entire thing with Becky, and Becky's gotten a lot out of her. So
I won't take that away from Becky. Becky's made me a fan of her. She's definitely done her job in that regards.
Yeah, so Becky has done her job. Lyra's shown the personality that we needed instead of just coming out and doing the entrance, having a title match and going home. She's done way more than that with this whole Becky thing, and it's made the WIC title feel way more important than what it was. And also, Lyra did defeat Becky at Backlash, and she's honing in the fact that she's beaten Becky twice at this point.
Yeah. So for my prediction, which I'm assuming you're going, I see the title finally changing, and no knock to Zelina. Like Chelsea was a phenomenal U.S. champion, and like it's cool Zelina got her first singles run, but you got Chelsea who is doing the Lord's work with that U.S. title. She loses it. Cool. Zelina gets that mark. Now, mind you, Lyra, yeah, she wasn't doing nothing. This is the feud, and obviously I think her winning that first title defense of Becky help elevate not just her but the title. But you get a star like Becky with that women's IC title, it should help elevate it.
Yeah, and also another thing about Becky being inserted into this over Bayley, like I said, I'm not sure if Lyra felt more comfortable, but this is what needed to be done for that title. Even though it came at the expense of Bayley. It shouldn't have came at the you could have done this without
hopefully Becky,
over Bayley.
At the end of Money in the Bank, then sure, hopefully Bayley's the next feud up, and then she goes on to be the third IC champion.
Yeah, because like I said, you could have done this, gotten here without screwing over Bayley.
100%.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Becky to win the WSC title, and I think we'll get the triple threat at Evolution.
Would that be spicy?
I think that's where we're probably going to end up going. So we're going to stay